How my editor stole my $10,000 Rolex. And this is a very, very weird story. So this story started a while ago. This was right in the middle segment where my coaching business wasn't doing as well as it should have. My cash flow was a lot lower, but we were on the verge of breaking through a next barrier. I hired an editor. I flew him all the way over back to Bali, where I was staying, and I told this guy that we would rock the world. I had a bit of a different mentality than I have now. I used to be a lot more materialistic. I was so much focused on what kind of watches I had or what kind of clothes I was wearing. I had a few pieces of designer clothing, whether it was like dripping with a little bit of a Louis Vuitton bag or with a Rolex that I bought for $7,000 that went up to 10. I had that Rolex and I truly admired it because the people around me were all entrepreneurs that, well, they bought a Rolex the first thing that they could. So I figured that if I wanted to fit in with that kind of gang, I would do the same thing. And this is something that a lot of people just go into. You hang around with a certain type of people and then you automatically think to fit in, you have to follow those rules too. But it doesn't necessarily mean that those are the rules you have to oblige by. It also doesn't mean that those people are the right people too. It just means that you may be insecure and you just don't really know where you fit in, which was the case for me. I didn't know where I really wanted to be in. While I was on my run in Bali, I had this editor come through, and once again, we weren't having the best months ever. And I told my editor, listen, brother, once we blow up and this goes well, the next watch I buy is going to be a better Rolex. And he loved the watch. He was always like, oh man, I just wish I could get a Rolex. I wish I could have one. And I was like, man, I really just should give him this Rolex. I honestly wanted to give him that Rolex right there, right then, because I just felt like he deserved it. He was working so hard for me, and he was just putting in effort in seeing things and being there for me, laughing with me, but I just couldn't at that moment. I told him, listen, brother, once we blow up and we'll make it and I get my other Rolex, that's the moment I will give you mine. Let's fast forward. Cash flow got worse. Business got worse. Some people just quit because the people, well, I mean, if you have a coaching business where you teach people how to make money online and be sufficient, make more money, well, at some point, these people are going to want more money. And I couldn't afford that. So in my business, I taught people how to make more money. And you got to imagine if you're teaching people how to make more money, at some point they're going to want more money, especially if they work for you. So it was kind of a paradox I got myself in. But if you give people the right mentality, they you want them to grow. And that is what happened with the people that work for me. They all grew so far out that they needed a new challenge. And that meant that the challenge that I had to face was not having any people working for me, or not the right people working for me, or I had to go again and try to find people that were as good as the people that left me, which is a hard thing to do, especially because those people are your best people because they want a better challenge. So that was the thing I got stuck with. And one of the people that left also because of this whole hassle, and also because the cash flow was getting less and less and less because, well, people got away, was my editor. He just couldn't bear with it. He missed his family in Holland and he just wanted to go back. Okay, go back. I'll do it myself. Fast forward. Business went better. New team got set up. Everything went well. I started investing my money. I made a few very good runs with different types of cryptocurrencies. I traveled more of the world. I met more people. I made my move to Dubai. More and more good things happened to me. After I traveled abroad and did a project together with one of my friends, I was finally set. I knew it's good. I don't need to do things I don't want to anymore. And the one thing that I do want to do is make more content, give more back, be able to put a bigger mark on this place and do something, create something that is going to generate more to give back to more people. I needed an editor, and I made a lot of mistakes. One of the mistakes that I did, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to fast forward. This editor that used to work for me, I told him every single week, brother, you have to come back, work for me. I love you. The work that you do is immaculate. You need to come back and work for me. And I am in sales. I do my own thing. I try to do my best, and guess what? I convinced him to come back, and I paid him an obnoxious amount of money because I knew I thought If I wanted good people, I had to pay good money. And this was one of the mistakes that I made. You don't pay good money to anyone because you like them or think that they're valuable. Maybe if you think you're valuable, but I didn't have my values right. At that moment, I just thought, you know what? I'm going to spend more money and people will work harder for me. But that's not the case. People will not work harder for you if you give them more money. People will work harder for you if they come up with a plan on why they want to work more for you and make more money. If you have that specific plan where people come up to you and tell you, hey, I want to make more money. This is exactly what I'm going to do for that. This is exactly what it will make you. Now suddenly it's a very interesting thing to have. But if you just go randomly to a person and tell them, hey, listen up, I want more money, usually the answer is no. For me, this was an emotional choice. It wasn't a rational choice. For me, it was emotional because I knew I had this history with this person. I knew I had all of these beautiful things that I've done with him. I know how good he was in my head. So my decision was, I'm going to fly you out to Dubai, to this penthouse that we live in. We're going to make content. We're going to change the world. We're going to do whatever. Because frankly, I had 4 more editors and 4 more film guys. What do you call those guys? Like shooters, people that shoot videos, whatever. I had 4 more of those, and they sucked. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna fucking splash. I'm gonna get the right person on the job, and I'm gonna do it now. He came, and the first month we fucking kicked it. It was sick, but I was not the same person I was 2 to 3 years ago. Suddenly now, I was wearing a more expensive watch. Suddenly now, I was out drinking more and buying bottles every night. I was wearing designer clothes, and not just a bag, but full clothes, where my t-shirt, my belt, my hat, and everything was designer. I wasn't that Ray Bean. I wasn't that same entrepreneur too. Listen, when you go to a certain place and you work your way and ass off to a certain point where you just feel like you're set, you lose your mentality to work. And I wasn't purpose driven as much as I used to be. Instead, I was just, hey, you know what? I want to have fun. I want to make a fun video. I want to do this. I want to give back. But there was no actual structured plan behind anything. But you know what I just wanted to do emotionally? I wanted to give that Rolex to him because I felt like that was the right thing to do. So even though I had those hard times, I felt like I had better times, and I gave that Rolex to him. And here's the thing that I've learned. Once again, money is not a motivation. Money is maybe a reward, but mainly a result. If you ever expect to make a lot of money, the only reason you will make a lot of money, that is into working in a very smart way that will result into you getting rewarded by a shit ton of money. If somehow you manage to gain a lot of money just like that, you will take it for granted and you will make stupid decisions. And it was for me like that, but for my editor too. Because my editor, he took the watch, he got lazy. I expected somebody to be responsible and take his own decisions on. He didn't. Month 2 and month 3, I didn't get any results. I didn't get any questions. I just saw my bank account getting drained. And at some point, he just didn't respond anymore. I got a message. He told me, yo, later, I'm not doing this anymore. And that was it. So I lost my Rolex and a lot of monthly wages to somebody that eventually didn't even work for me. But I'm not blaming him. I am blaming myself. Because I wasn't the same person that I was before. I wasn't that same hardworking, inspiring guy. I was just somebody that was lazy and was hoping that somebody would take the job for me. That would just do it, do the creative work, do the hard work. And that's just not how it works. Listen, in life, there are no shortcuts. In life, if you want to keep on achieving, if you want to achieve just in general, you got to work hard. You got to work smart. That's what I did when I made my first few, and that's what I'm going to do with this new project that I'm working on. Because I've learned that I am working as a leader to show the people around me exactly how you should be and how it's done. I want to help the world But the only way to help the world is by being a man myself and putting my hands in the dirty work that have to be done, leading the pack, showing them exactly how this stuff is going to happen. And I can hire as much people around me to do the dirty work for me, but in the end, it always has to go by me. Because if I have a mission, I have a purpose, I can't let other people do that for me. So sure, I maybe lost a Rolex, but I felt like that guy deserved it. He took it. I wanted to give it to him. I learned a very hard and good lesson. And after that day, I am a changed man. It was one of the reasons that this project that we're working on is going to be the biggest in the world. And more on that in the next video. My name is Rabin, and if you want freedom, you better, I don't know, like join or something. I